Welcome back to part 5 of our conversation with Jean
Lobe.
Lobe of Waspito.
Yeah.
Go. The question on the table is this. You're a startup founder. Plenty of people talk about how, on the investor side, how do you find a founder in a startup? What are the things to look for in a startup and a founder to invest in? Let's turn the question around. What do you look for in an investor? Are there some investors you'd say no to? And what's the kind of investor that you would say yes to? And to take an example, Zachariah George and his Launch Africa team, why did you choose to, we'll take your investment?
Exactly. So that question is, the answer is not very straightforward in this part of the world. I always tell this to my friends who are from Europe and the US. We don't have the luxury of selecting investors here. At this point, I do select because we've done a seed round, we've done a seed extension round, we are going to a Series A. So we have the opportunity to select the kind of investors. So to answer the question in terms of what kind of investors I would like to have, I like investors that don't only come with money. I'd say this mentioning our good friend Zach of Launch Africa Ventures. These are one of the first investors that came on board. And it was an easy, it's true, the early days you don't have lots of choice, the luxury of choice, but it was easy for me to say, yes, this is the kind of investor we want on board, because they are good in terms of their background check for the company. They understand the business. They've invested in tons of companies in Africa. They're one of the best, most active VCs on the continent. So once they even approach you, it means they've already done some good background check. They know what they're looking for. Process is short in terms of how they do the due diligence. They talk to the founder or founders, understand the business model quickly, and then they will even start from after the first 2 calls, they start introducing you to other investors. Even before they invest, they'll introduce you to other investors to start building that network, so you have a higher probability of closing your round. And then they have coaching sessions. Zach has about 2 or 3 groups where all the founders are in.
In the WhatsApp group.
A WhatsApp group. They will share some good articles with founders there, give some tips. Any video where he's talking to founders anywhere, he will share on the group, so that you have all this material that can help you build your startup more effectively. So to summarize my question in terms of how do I select an investor, number one, the investor is capable to provide the cash, which is really king and which is very important. But not only the cash, but introduce you to a huge network. I can count the number of business partners we have today based on Launch Africa Ventures connections that we've had, and then also be able to introduce you to other investors. You want to have the kind of investor that can be able to pull other investors to the table, and that's Launch Africa Ventures for you.
That was pretty good. That was so succinct. I think we'll actually keep this one super brief.
Yeah.
And we'll continue. And by the way, we don't mean to leave out Junaid and Margaret and everybody else at Launch Africa. Anybody else that you've had dealings with?
Kartik.
There you go. And anybody out there watching from Launch Africa, thanks for supporting people like Jean.
Yeah, we're grateful.